The Oilers are going into Florida.
Mm.
They're in a terrible spot. They've lost 4 in a row. And again, like the Colorado game, I feel like is very detached from what these 3 losses have been against Philadelphia, Washington, and Tampa Bay. But yes, after the Tampa Bay game, a crazy quote from Kris Knoblauch, but he called the team fragile, which for a team that went to the Stanley Cup Finals, with like you said, like there's been a lot of change on this team. There's no doubt about it, but the core of it is still well intact. For their head coach to be calling them fragile at the end of February, only a couple of weeks before the trade deadline, is very alarming. So I guess my question is to you is like, do you think this team is actually fragile, or do you think it's just like they're in a bit of a funk and they're obviously going to find their way out of this?
It's difficult to say. I mean, Kris Knoblauch himself hasn't seen the Oilers in this kind of a funk for this amount of time during his entire tenure as the coach of the Oilers, because the last time they lost 4 games in a row was, like we mentioned earlier, was the end of Jay Woodcroft. Yeah, it was the end of the Jay Woodcroft era. So it's not an ideal situation, but we're not used to seeing the Oilers play like this in the middle of the season. Like, think back this time last year, we were just getting finished watching the Oilers on a 16-game winning streak that challenged the NHL record for longest winning streak of all time. And I mean, here we are now. It looked like the Oilers got everything out of the way early in the season when they came out with 3 straight losses. They looked like they had found their groove through November and December and into January. They're one of the league's best teams, and now something switched. Something looks different, and I mean, we heard all about the virus going through the team, the illness, but I mean, you can't assume that that's, it's been well over a few weeks, maybe even a month now that's been the case. You have to think something else is going on. And one thing that I speculate, and this is purely speculation on my part, maybe even a little bit of a conspiracy theory on my part, but I do sort of wonder with the talk around the team, around the trade deadline's been somewhat quiet in terms of tangible rumors of the Oilers are looking at this, the Oilers are looking at that. Here's a name connected to the Oilers outside of speculation. I wonder if the players are kind of subconsciously sending a message to the front office that they need a big swing before the trade deadline.
Do you know, if I was Victor Arvidsson, I wouldn't be the guy that's playing down right now, to be honest. I'd be looking to elevate my game, but
it's probably not the case.
It's probably not, but like
it's probably not. But I'm throwing that out there just because it's a funny thing to talk about.
It's silly season. We can all get a little bit crazy, but against Florida, like, you're going into a building where your dreams were crushed last season in Game 7. They're also missing Matthew Tkachuk. Like, it just seems like a really good spot for them to prove to all those Oilers fans and like to the NHL that, like, hey, like those 3 games are just kind of a bit of a blimp in our season. They're nothing special. Like, it is what it is. But like, we just beat the Florida Panthers again, minus Matthew Tkachuk. But like, it doesn't matter. They're still the Florida Panthers, and it's the crest on the jersey that matters. So I think the Oilers will come out and do well against Florida, but we'll see what happens, and then we'll keep you up to date with all of the trade deadline stuff coming up next week.